Tammy Sue Bakker. Welcome to the Jim Bakker Show. Today, our special guest is New York Times best-selling author David Horowitz. And now, please give a warm welcome to my parents and the hosts of the Jim Bakker Show, Jim and Lori Bakker.
Thank you, Tammy Sue.
Yeah.
Welcome to day 3 with our very special guest, David Horowitz.
Yes.
New York Times bestseller, I'll tell you that with time and time again. Totally one of the great writers of our day. A man of history, a man who writes history and makes history.
That's right.
And we've got some great stuff to talk about today.
And with his amazing, one of his amazing new books, this new book, The Big Agenda, or I should just say, Big Agenda.
And this is the final day.
Yes.
He's going to be with us. So be sure to order the book today.
Yes.
It's the best buy in town.
It really is.
And it's for $15.
It is a beautiful hardback, love hardback books. And I'm telling you, this is a must read for everybody. And it's a must read today. It's right now. And I think it's exciting how, David, I think I heard you say earlier, you were talking to Mondo, that you wrote the book in like October or November of 2016?
I was called by the publisher on October 16th before the election, 3 weeks before the election.
Okay.
And he asked me if I could write a book in 6 weeks on the election. I've been following the election, and I always see these things in context. You have to see who the opposition is and what they're doing. And of course, I mean, I think we were all fixated on the election because it was so extreme and unusual. And the left had pulled out all the stops in attacking Trump. So I knew I could do that book. And he said, it's going to be called Big Agenda. He had this whole marketing idea.
Okay.
And I said, sure. And then a week later, when I was already well into the book, he said, you've got 3 weeks.
My
And you have to finish it on December, because he wanted it out for the inauguration. You have to finish it on November 9th, which was the day after the election. And you need to write it as though Hillary's going to win, because she is. And I didn't think so.
You didn't,
but it didn't really matter,
so?
because this book it starts with the adversary. Who is the opposition? Why is the Democratic Party behaving this way? Until you understand that, you can't understand how important Trump is. And Trump had won me over. I mean, I didn't endorse him in the primaries, but he won me over the first day of the debate. And I said, finally, here's a Republican who doesn't run for the tall grass when he's attacked, who isn't bowing and scraping and apologizing. We have somebody here who can fight, and he showed throughout that he was a master of that.
Wow. So that's what won
we
you
need
over.
fighters. I waited 30 years for Republicans to stand up and fight and call the enemy out for what it was. And he's done that, and he's done it over and over again. And of course, you know, when you do that, and I once was in a kind of political campaign. You may know the Larry Elder, who's a black talk show host, and you see him a lot. And Larry had a show on KABC, an ABC radio station owned by Disney in Los Angeles. And the left, because he was conservative, he's a libertarian, they were boycotting the show, and they were attacking him, and they had cut his hours. So I conducted a political campaign to save his show.
Wow.
I had a political consultant, because I was the spokesperson. I was saying, you know, this is the most important voice in LA radio you have to hear, Larry Elder. And he would school me in the discipline. You never answer questions. You always talk your talking points. And for a person like me, I mean, I spent my life shooting off my mouth with my opinions. It was excruciating. And I really couldn't do it well. We did save his show, though.
Yes.
But
yes. Yeah. I like
So I had a lot of sympathy for Trump. So, you know, I saw when he came out and said that Mexico wasn't sending their best people here, meaning he meant the illegals. He should have started with what he ended with. I love Mexicans, and I have thousands working for me. But he started with they're sending drug dealers and rapists and so forth. So I cut him a lot of slack because I saw, you know, he's got 70% of the American people who want to preserve or defend American sovereignty, establish borders, keep drugs out of the country, keep criminals out of the country. It's a winning position. Yeah. And so I was a big Trump supporter.
This is an amazing book, and you need to read it. It's a book for now. It's a book whose time has come.
Yes.
It is its time now, and we need to read it. If we're going to win this war, and I want to start out this show. I'm obsessed with this, and I believe the first horse of the apocalypse is a war of words.
Yes.
And it's an antichrist spirit. It's an evil spirit, and it's a warfare, not of bullets, not of arrows. There's no arrows with that first horse.
That's right.
And we are in that time of warfare.
Right.
Warfare of words.
Right.
And if there's ever been a warfare of words, it's right now.
Sure is.
And the war of words against the President of the United States.
Sure is.
And I want to deal with this a little bit more on today's program. We talked about it, I think, one day this week. But we've got to win this war. And first of all, you've analyzed Trump. What does he have that he can keep going when the rest of us would probably drop out?
Oh, he has an iron constitution. I'm quite amazed and impressed by it. Here's a guy who lives for his reputation. I mean, he puts Trump on everything that he does. Trump towers, Trump airplanes.
That's right.
And yet he's risked that whole thing for his love of country.
Yes.
It's an amazing sacrifice that he made.
Yeah. It really
When you
is.
speak about the war of words, and this is why Trump is a genius at this. I mean, he is a marketer, after all, salesman. And I would say 95% of what they accuse him of lying is just salesman exaggerations, you know.
Yeah.
I remember when he nominated Gorsuch, he said, Gorsuch is an unbelievably highly qualified person. Couldn't just say highly qualified. But if you think, here he's facing a lying media. We all know the media is lying. They're inventing stuff. Fake news. It's brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Just brilliant.
It is.
And that just makes them more angry, and so they do even stupider things, which is terrific.
Yeah.
They're self-exposing themselves all the time.
Exactly. And he does have an iron constitution.
And I keep on tweeting.
You know,
Yeah, and keep on. I say the same thing.
I mean, it's not like if he doesn't tweet and he's very disciplined that they're going to treat him nicely.
Yeah.
Because he's destroying their agenda. That's the important thing.
You know, if you're in favor of freedom, you know, tweeting, why wouldn't you love tweeting? Listen to me. Come on. We're beating up on President Trump because he tweets, which is a stupid name to begin with. You know, I'm not as old as you are, but I'm almost as old as you are. So I've lived quite a while. And I have, you know, remember the fireside chats when you were kids? We all wanted our president to talk to us.
Right. So you're talking about Roosevelt. He would have fireside chats.
But what we've done is we've got a news system because we figured it had to be written down to go into the newspapers. Right. So we have this news that has to be written by another party, and they write whatever they want. They change it. They do whatever. So what's wrong with tweeting? You all tweet. The whole country tweets. You do it all the time. What's wrong with your president speaking to the world, and you say, well, he messes up. Well, isn't that something? That's human.
Yeah.
You mean we'd have a human being for a president? You know? And I just believe, I wrote it down on my other, why do we not consider Trump's tweets as freedom of speech?
Well,
What do you think?
Of course it is.
It's not
I
great
think
prose
you hit
or
the
anything.
nail on the head. It's a direct communication. That it's not just that the media would distort anything he says anyway, but it's the fact that if he submitted it to the committee, it would go through a filter, and then he would sound like every other politician, and we wouldn't believe him.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
oh, you are so right.
That's the truth.
But isn't it funny? We're in the tweet generation,
Social
and
media.
they've convinced everybody that he's doing something awful.
Well, look at one of the big ones. He was under attack, I forget what for, and to fire back immediately, he said that Obama had wiretapped him. Well, wiretapped is what older generation people talk about.
Yes.
He was completely surveilled. Obama has done one of the most horrific things in the history of the presidency, which is to use the intelligence service. He spied on several thousand Republicans, including the whole Trump campaign. And Trump was exactly right. The press spent the next month just talking about wiretap to whack him. But everybody who has eyes who's paying attention can see, yeah, they surveilled him. They spied on him. So what we're going through is this fog of distraction. Why are we even talking about the Russian collusion since there is none and there's no evidence of it? Yeah. This Comey nonsense. Of course, Comey should have been fired. He's completely corrupt, and he interfered with the election on both sides more than anybody, more than the Russians. And the chaos in our country is caused by the Democrats pumping up this Russian conspiracy. But when the dust clears, Trump will still be president. They can't impeach him. They're not going to impeach him. There was no crime committed. And he'll have done all these things which will create constituencies for him. And the Democrats really, what do they have to run on? The Russian collusion? I mean, you think they're going to get elected over that? I don't think so.
What do you think about, we're talking about Comey, what do you think what happened at his hearing when in the middle of this hearing, he blurts out that he slipped a friend the note, the copy of the note, the memo, which was in the White House when he wrote a note to himself. Yeah. And so he asked a friend to leak it to the media.
So he's the leaker.
He's the leaker.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, they're going wild with that.
They are.
When I saw what was going on during the election with Comey, I mean, it's frightening. You have the FBI director playing politics, manipulating information instead of protecting us.
Don't go away. We'll be right back after this special message.
We put together this family gathering bundle.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
And it's only $450.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And so that is a year and 4 months.
Yes, sir.
That is a tremendous saving. And when you get this food, you get the fruit variety bucket, 199 serving. You get a vegetable variety bucket, 109 servings. You get the gluten-free black bean bucket, 215 servings. You get the Fiesta bucket, 196. That's the whole Mexican bucket.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And then we have the French toast kit, which was just developed last month. And so it's a $925 value. So you're going to save $475. And then you get this bonus of 2 boxes of each flavor of Frontier Bites.
Right.
And so there's macadamia, pineapple, coconut. There's pecan, cherry, cinnamon. There's almond, blueberry, lemon. And so you get, how many boxes of that now?
2 of each flavor.
This is a special product that's only going to be for this special week.
That's right.
That's right. It's good.
Okay, now you have the new meal extenders.
Yes.
This is a John Shorey thing. This meal extenders is 1,837 servings.
It's good.
This is almost 2 years of food.
Right.
So.
Right.
And extenders, they're like, put some water in the soup, Ma.
Yes.
Because we got company.
That's
you know,
right.
and that's what extenders are.
Yes.
And I think we ought to order one right now.
I do too. This
because
is great.
we've got lots of food stored away.
Right.
But when people drop in,
Right.
they can eat a lot.
Well, the extenders
Add
are,
some
you have to add
extenders.
some
That's right.
extenders like
Okay,
lentil bean bucket, which is 386 servings.
I could sing the Hallelujah chorus. I love lentils. I'm a lentil fan.
It's true.
They give me energy.
Yes.
Can't you tell?
Yes.
Okay, pinto beans.
432
Yes,
servings.
that's right.
So then what's the next one?
White rice bucket,
How many servings?
405.
Then what is this vegetable stew mix? 388 servings.
Yes.
So then the potato slice bucket. So what can you do with a potato slice?
Anything. Eat it. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever you want to do. You can fry it up. You can boil it. You can add it to stews, soups, whatever you want to do.
Okay, so here we have the new meal extenders. These are extenders.
Right.
Well, with the
but-
meal extender bundle, you also get a bonus
Yes.
as well. You receive 2 boxes of each flavor of the Frontier Bites
Yes.
that we all love so much, and that's macadamia, pineapple, coconut, pecan, cherry, cinnamon, almond, blueberry, lemon, and they are wonderful. They're only 8 ingredients in
So
these.
you're
wonderful
getting 1
things.
year, 8 months of food, so for $550, and you're getting this set of 2 boxes of
and 6
each,
pouches.
2
comes
boxes of
in
each flavor
each
Frontier
box.
Bites.
So call 1-888-988-1588 or write us today at P.O. Box 7330, Branson, Missouri 65615, or go to the website jimbakkershow.com.
I just want to deal with this war where I have never in my lifetime seen such awful things said about a president on the commercials, on news, on comedians supposed to be funny.
I think that's right, but I think the true believers are American minority, and that most people are probably as shocked as you are by the way the president is being treated, and that over time he's still going to be in place. What happens 6 months down the road? He's still in the White House. You know, it just won't have the impact that it's having. I mean, they've already exhausted it during the campaign. How many times can you say Trump is a liar and whatever else they say?
Yeah.
You know, and this is something that people like me have learned. It hurt a lot when I first came into the right and people would call me a racist just for being a conservative. But you learn that you survive and you don't disappear. I once explained, or said this to Michelle Bachmann. I said, if you get hit by the lightning, you can survive it, and then you're a star, which is what happened to her.
Yes.
So once ordinary people understand that these wounds that you take are necessary and they're not mortal, they will be able to go into the battle without the fear that defeats them before they get in.
Wow. That's a brilliant statement.
I want you to read the book.
Yes.
Get it today. This is our last day. And read the book. Order the book today.
Yes.
Because this is, I believe, today, the most important book for you to read beside the Bible.
Right.
But this is the book that you need to read right now. You just have to be informed because, you know, a lot of people have gotten discouraged.
Right.
And that's what I'm concerned about.
Yes.
They are watching, you know, people like Kathy Griffin, you know, holding up a bleeding head,
Right.
you know, Trump's head cut off.
What I love about this book, David, is that you help us understand what you call the enemy that really is against our belief system as conservatives. You know, as
Americans.
As Americans, yeah, right, exactly.
Do you think there ever be a time where news again will just report news, not make it, not be a part of it, not
oh, I don't know if that can ever
be a
I mean, people are people, and so they leak their prejudices, but this is the worst it's ever been in my lifetime and yours.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, they're just going to have to get used to us and Trump.
You think?
Tough.
Do you think they will ever be able to swallow that pill, that Trump pill?
I don't care.
You don't?
I don't care because
they're going to have to.
What I care is that, to me, the priority now is getting the Republican Party in line. They've got to be defending Trump, and getting, you know, these reforms through, get the legislation through. They got to be on the team, and I think that's probably happening. He's pretty persuasive, and as time goes on, he'll get stronger. That's.
Do you think that the Republicans are going to get on the Trump?
Most of them will. I think the Republican Party will.
But they need to get together and come together in unity and come together in one accord. You know, when we were at the inauguration, the one thing I felt when we were there with Don and Mary, Mondo was there. The one feeling in the atmosphere being there was it honestly felt like not only were we all in one accord and unity, you know, the Bible in Acts talks about they were all in one accord. I turned to Jim and I said, I literally feel like we're at almost like a Jesus rally. I mean, he's not the Messiah, Trump isn't, don't get me wrong. I'm saying it just felt, though, that we were in one accord. We came together to support the same thing. The unity was so strong. Wasn't it, Mondo? It was dynamic. It was incredible to be right there, to see the president sworn in, and to see the first lady, and to see just the whole situation, the whole Trump thing. And it was like we were all just so in love with what we felt God was doing.
Well, solidarity is a hard one for conservatives to learn. I mean, I don't say Republicans should defend, you know, all their ill-doers or sinners, but they got to stand together a lot more than they do.
That's right. You're right.
The United States pulls out of the Paris Climate Agreement, headline.
Yay.
That's right.
I was
Yay
is
opinion. Right. That's what I said.
First of all,
I was hoping
the Paris Climate Accord was a scam, and it was designed to make these globalist politicians look good when they did nothing. The standards, the carbon emission standards that are part of the accord are all voluntary, and they don't hold any countries to anything. So it's a non-accord. But in order to get them to sign an accord which doesn't hold them to anything, the United States is supposed to give them $100 billion
exactly
in bribes.
That's right.
That's the Paris Accord.
That's it.
Good for Trump.
Yeah.
And I say something about the global warming hoax.
Yeah.
Global warming. It's a dream for the left. It's apocalyptic. So when it's the end of the world if you don't follow their orders. It's made for them to institute government controls over everything. They wanted to regulate, you know, your light switches, how much you can keep your lights on. They want to put meters in your cars, how far you can drive. It's a perfect totalitarian dream, this mythological global warming thing.
Yes.
In this book, The Big Agenda, there's one chapter on the environment.
Yes.
And the subtitle is A Pretext for Government Control. And so you talk about it in this book.
It's also made for order for the left. I mean, the rocks and the trees can't speak up for themselves. So they're perfect human shields for the left.
Yeah.
And the same thing is with minorities are going to revolt. Sooner or later, they're going to say, enough is enough. You guys run these inner cities. You've destroyed generations of our children. We're not going to take it anymore. But the environment can't do that. Mm-hmm. So we're just ready-made for the left to exploit. Mm-hmm. But again, I would venture to say 80 or 90% of Americans don't think that so-called climate change, climate's always changing, is a threat or a serious one.
No. Yeah, it goes back.
Certainly not tantamount to the threat from North Korea with their ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
We need an anti-ballistic missile system.
That's it.
That's what we should spend the money on.
That's right. That's excellent. Yeah.
Where is North Korea getting all the missiles? And every other day they come up with new missiles that they're testing.
I'm sure that China is helping them. Iran. Remember the axis of evil? Bush was right. There is an axis of evil, only it's much bigger now because of the Democrats.
What do you think of the wall?
Yay.
Of course. Yes.
Do you think Trump will build a wall?
Yeah, it's not going to be like the Great Wall of China, because there are parts of Texas that they keep pointing out there where it's not feasible to build an actual wall. But there's barriers. I mean, the wall in Israel to keep the terrorists out, it's cut terrorist attacks inside Israel against civilians to practically zero from when it was thousands.
That's right.
It's mainly a fence.
Yeah.
There are ways to build barriers, but you can't do it unless you're committed and dedicated to building that wall or that fence or that security barrier. And look, Trump, just by coming out as a leader and saying this, he's cut illegal crossings of the border by 70%.
Yes, it's amazing.
Look, all of us would have said if somebody said in August that you can cut illegal crossings 70% within a month or two, we'd think they're crazy.
That's
It would be a miracle. So he's produced a miracle just by being a leader.
Right. I heard a report the other day just saying exactly that, and how, you know, the 70% in just a few short months, within literally almost a month.
And it's just by scaring them. It's the same thing. They have this thing with food stamps that people are, you know, the number of people on food stamps has gone down because they're making a requirement.
Right.
We discussed that earlier. But that's called leadership.
Yeah.
That is.
You know,
able-bodied people working.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And it's good for the people that have to work.
It is good for the people that have to work. And the Bible says that, you know what, you don't eat if you don't work.
Yes.
That's right.
Don't go away. We'll be right back after this special message.
My grandchildren, my children, they all use this. I mean, my little kids, the first thing they can say almost is silver.
It's the truth.
And if they cut themselves or anything, they go and get it themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The research that I've done, and I'm so glad we're going to share it with everyone today, has proven there is evidence that silver can kill any virus that it's been tested on. Products like the silver, which will absolutely kill any virus, bacteria, fungus, mold that we may be exposed to.
This is like my
Really is a
healthcare in
a bottle and in a, yes.
Yeah. And today we're offering the set. Order yours today. If you haven't tried it, try it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know all the reports I read, Doctor? They found no side effects. Every university study, everything I've read, there's no side effects. You're getting, for $135, you're getting this large tube of the gel, which is for everything.
Great.
But you're getting the hand lotion,
Yes.
Lori.
Yes, I'm
for rough and dry skin.
I'm rubbing
promotes
it all
natural
over.
healing also.
Yes.
Okay, what else? What's in your
Oh
hand?
my goodness! I stopped holding on it.
She's not going to let it go.
And we also have the silver dental gel. Now, Dr.
For
Selman,
toothpaste. Do you know about that?
Talk to
Doctor?
us about this, will you please?
Right. So there's a big concern right now amongst cardiologists understanding the connection of periodontal disease and increased incidence of heart disease. A study was recently done with the silver. And what they did is they took the silver with people who had periodontal disease, and they put it in a tray like you get for whitening your teeth, you know, so it would really penetrate up into the pockets. And they found within 2.5 months it eliminated the periodontal disease.
That is unbelievable. So
that's our now.
So the toothpaste, tooth
we
gel
want
comes
this.
with it also.
Yes, yes.
I mean, all for $135 for the whole set.
Incredible.
Then you get these.
Right.
These are just so wonderful. They've had the nano silver with honey and peppermint, essential oils. They taste fabulous. And, you know, I don't use these just for singing. I use just for breath.
That's
and
right.
to eat them. And
that's right. That's exactly right.
The other ingredients in there, one of them is an organic honey. And honey is so medicinal in its own right. It's antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral, but it also is soothing. So you're soothing the tissues. And peppermint also, which is the organic peppermint in that product, is not only good for taste, but it's actually antibacterial as well. And then it's made with a sweetener, which is called xylitol, my favorite sweetener, which is great for diabetics because it doesn't spike your blood sugar levels. It's not a normal sugar. It's a healthy sweetener. So it's a fantastic product that can be used for just, you know, making your mouth feel good, fresh, or if you have, if you're dealing with specific conditions and sore throats of some sort.
So you get a whole box of those.
Yes, you do.
And honestly, I don't know what I do. I've been talking all day.
You have.
And I have one in my mouth right now.
Yes, yes.
And it just soothes things down.
Right.
Stops me from coughing.
Right.
It really works. When they order this, they're going to get the silver book,
Yes.
which gives you all kinds of ideas of what it does.
It's a great book. It's a great book. You have no idea all the uses from these products until you read that book.
But also you're going to get Dr. Summon's DVD seminar. We have the Unlocking the Keys to the Ageless Body. We have the patented nano silver and the Healing Miracle of Silver. These are all DVDs, and they're individual, and you get all 3 of them along with the book and along with all the products that we've just
Again, this
named.
is an amazing deal. Okay, you get 1 large liquid 16-ounce bottle of silver sol, 1 large gel 4-ounce, 1 face cream 3.4 ounces, 1 hand cream 3.4 ounces, 1 set of 3 applicator bottles, which is wonderful, 1 box of lozenges, and there's 21 in that box, 1 dental gel 4 ounces, 1 of the Nature's Healer book, which you got to read that book, 1 Unlocking the Keys to an Ageless Body by Dr. Cheryl, of course, and you get the patented nano silver seminar and the Healing Miracle of Silver, all 3 DVDs included in that package.
That's an excellent
$135
package.
Call now, 1-888-988-1588. Again, that toll-free number is 1-888-988-1588. And you can write Pastor Jim at P.O. Box 7330, Branson, Missouri 65615. You can also order this offer right now on our website at jimbakkershow.com. Thank you so much for your prayers and donations. You are the reason we can keep broadcasting around the world.
The travel ban, we're getting down to last few questions, but I really wanted to ask you about this travel ban. It's the courts have taken this on. It's scary when the courts don't back the president, because where's the authority? There has to be some authority somewhere in this country.
How do these judges?
Well, it's scary when they don't even mention the law and declare it unconstitutional. They didn't even refer to the text of the law, which is really clear. Trump can ban anybody in the name of national security. He has that right. Nations, he can ban religions. You know, if your religious belief leads you to believe you're in a war with the United States, we don't want you. It's that simple.
That's right. That's true.
And you have countries like Libya, which Obama and Clinton destroyed. They had a lunatic, Gaddafi, in charge, but he was actually in a war with Al-Qaeda. So he was good for us.
Yeah, that's right.
And they murdered him. And now the country is completely run by terrorists. It has no serious national government. They can't vet. If people come from Libya, there's no government that can run their background checks. Do we want people from Libya? No. Well, how simple is that?
Right.
Yeah, where did that come from?
John, you have an article in this that's of our news. We're not using a lot of our news today in the last few days, but Muslims take over New York street.
One of the biggest problems in this country is lawlessness, our refusal to enforce the laws. They have marches and shut down bridges.
Yes.
Don't do it. How difficult is it to apply for a permit and get a safe place to do your protest?
John, you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to mention something. That he was talking about political correctness, and in his book, he says exactly where it comes from, and I didn't even know this, that it comes from a Chinese dictator and a mass murderer, Mao Zedong, who basically implemented political correctness and made people adhere to the party, the Communist Party, basically referring to the party line.
Yeah, or you get shot or you lose all your friends. And there was a woman in the Communist Party named Bella Dodd, and she was a Catholic. And she was the Communist Party liaison to the state legislature. So she was very important and knew who all people in the Communist Party were. And this is because my father was fired because he was a communist and refused to answer the question. And how did they know he was a communist? Well, this woman, Bella Dodd, was a devout communist, but she was also a Catholic. And the party insisted that she give up her Catholicism to stay in the party, and she refused. So they expelled her, which meant all her friends gone, all her contacts, and she has to live among, people she thought was the enemy. A horrible sentence. So she took revenge on them by revealing all their names.
Oh boy.
A headline today: Ontario law enables government to seize children from parents opposing gender transition. And so here's the things, what's going on.
Look.
People enforcing laws on each other.
It's the state intervening in a family. They're totalitarians. The Democratic Party is a totalitarian party. If you confront them with that, they'll deny it and so forth. But look at their behavior. Mm-hmm. They can't stand to have one dissenting voice in the room. Mm-hmm. I once did a national public radio show once a week. And I would open the phone lines, and people would say, "Why are you on our station? This is a public radio. This is paid for by the taxpayer. Why don't they have somebody on explaining everything you said is wrong?" Right? That's the mentality. Tell me that.
Oh, my goodness. That's too bad.
David, I want to ask you, as a Latino, how do we get our minorities to start believing on President Trump? What can they do?
Well, he needs to make big overtures to the inner cities. He needs to have a new deal for inner city America, is what I would say. Black America, Hispanic America in the inner cities. And Republicans have to nail the Democrats for being racist, for oppressing. They do the real oppression of black people and Hispanic people in the schools. The LA schools are probably 70 or 80% Hispanic. Mm-hmm. And in 2000, the LA Times had a front page article. They were going to end the social promotion, which is you lie to the kids and tell them they learned something and promote them, even when they learn nothing and need to be held back. And the article was how they can't end social promotion because the school district did a study that showed they would have to hold back 350,000 children in LA schools.
Wow.
So they just went on lying to them and letting them graduate functionally illiterate. That's a social atrocity, but Republicans are too polite to mention it. And I'm hoping that Trump will go on the offensive, you know, if you can't do it this year, next year. But the sooner the better.
Yes.
And you have to show the Hispanic and the black communities and other minority communities who their actual enemies are. And it's Democrats. It's that simple.
That's why you got to get this book. We can't keep stressing enough. The answers that you have to your questions are pretty much in this book. And you go detail by detail, explaining, even as a Republican, you know, if you're in that party, what can you do to bring this voice out there? And you even talk about how the Republican Party is opposing President Trump's agenda as well, that we're out to watch out even for them. You know, so you bring a lot of great points. So go to the website, order this book right now.
Well, you know what's so interesting? I love what Ann Coulter wrote on the back of the cover of your book, David. She wrote, "Progressives have declared war on America and Donald Trump. Every conservative should arm themselves with this brilliant battle plan for beating them back and winning the war." That is what Ann Coulter wrote, and that is what this book is about.
I believe 99% of Americans have no idea what's in this book and the facts of this.
Well, it opened my eyes. I
bet there's people even watching our show right now that Ann just said progressives have declared war on America. I bet there's people out there that don't even know that you're not a progressive.
Right.
Because some of you say, well, I'm progressive. I'm progressive.
Yeah, they're very good at capturing the words that
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
are seductive.
Yes. Right.
But what they mean is that human history is moving forwards. You always hear them say that we're on the wrong side of history. There's Obama had a carpet put in the Oval Office with the inscription, "The moral arc of the universe is bent towards justice." Really? Probably the 20th century was the worst century on record for human atrocities. And the 21st is likely to be even worse.
Wow.
You know, there are 27 million slaves, mainly sex slaves, maybe of little girls in the world today. More than 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. Child abuse goes on all over the place. We know. I mean, the problem is us. The problem is human beings, and it's a constant struggle. Wow. So there is not going to be over the rainbow social justice, which is communism. Well, I mean, the idea that you can take people who are corrupted, and when I came out of the left, the one thing I wish that I had been taught as a young person was the doctrine of original sin. You think that people are good, born good, and that they stay good, and then you can give infinite power to the government. How can you have social justice if the people administering it are people like Obama, Loretta Lynch, Comey? I mean, all these people. They're ordinary people with the same lusts, the same desires, the same prejudices and egocentricity. That's why we're in the state we're in. You can't have a government that's outside the human race, which is what the idea of the left is. So
that's a brilliant. That's powerful and brilliant.
We're out of time.
The original sin, what we're all born into.
Again,
guys,
there will be no redemption without a divinity. Period.
My research team is here with us today, and they love your book. They love you. They have researched you, and they respect you so highly. To have this great author, David Horowitz, here with us today.
Such an honor.
And so if there's one question you're just dying to ask.
One thing I researched about you was your foundation actually used to be called the Study of Popular Culture because you wanted to become a presence in Hollywood. And
I called it that. I wanted to dream up a name when I was starting the center that would make it hard for the left to attack me. And what I found was when conservatives heard the word culture, they thought it was left wing.
Do you believe that the left is pushing their agenda through Hollywood and the media, though?
Well, that's when Peter Collier and I started this, the idea was to combat the left where it had succeeded the most. One was public television and radio, one was Hollywood, and one was universities. And that's how we picked our targets. And the study of popular culture seemed to cover all of those.
Yes.
But I think of my center as not as a think tank, but as a battle tank. and a school for political warfare. And I wrote a little pamphlet. Actually, you can get it on Amazon, called "The Art of Political War," and it's basically about this idea that we are a nation which honors the underdog. So you always have to position yourself on the side of the underdog. Then you'll win the political battles.
Wow.
We are in a war. And this is part of the battle plan right here.
It really
that
is.
you need to have the information so you're aware
Yes.
of what it's all about.
What would you tell our viewers or people watching this show who want to make a difference but don't feel like they have the voice to do so?
Well, not everybody, can be a loudmouth like me. But everybody can do something. In your schools, with your children, with your teachers, with your representatives, your state legislature. Let's get a state legislature that'll protect children. Let's get one that'll stop the indoctrination from the left in the schools. Let's get legislators that respect religious liberty. All these things. You just have to get active and find what your talents are suited for. Some people need to be out front. Some people need to be supporting the people out front. It's really simple. But you just have to see that the political struggle, one, is hugely important for religious people, and two, that it can be won. And I'm here to tell you, you can win.
The rewrite of history, John, you're a student, and it has driven me crazy that they have rewritten our history in the college texts, even in the high schools, for the children. And they're being taught a history that never was.
That's true. It's what they call now a false narrative.
Yes.
And the slavery issue is perfect. What they teach in the schools is that the Constitution was formed by slave owners to protect their property, and that they judged blacks to be 3/5 of a human being. It's total lies. The founding is why black people are free, and the 3/5 compromise, anti-slavery people said 3/5 because the southern slave owners wanted blacks slaves to be counted as a full person so they could have bigger representation in Congress and more power. That's what that was about.
Wow.
So, I've heard Al Gore tell this lie, Hillary Clinton tell a lie. they all lying. So that's another way that people can fight the battle. Just restore, teach the right history. Just learn about it and teach it. And because of the internet, there's a huge number of conservative sites with tremendous information. You want to find out about Islam and its atrocities? There's dozens of sites on the internet that have the facts.
Well, that reminds me of one of my favorite quotes about rewriting history, which is, if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. And that's why I think it's so important for us to be educated. And that's why this book is so important, because it really simplifies what is going on right now in the political world. And sometimes it gets a lot. Us on the research team, we're watching the news all the time. There's so much going on. It's so hard to understand sometimes. But that's why I love this book so much. It simply puts what's going on. And that's why it's so important to understand who the enemy is and how they work so that you know how to address it.
That's right.
John.
Yeah. I'd like to say that nobody really likes confrontation. And maybe this fight, this war that's going on right now in America is the very thing that America needs. America needs people to stand up and to speak up for what they believe in. And if you don't, what happens is you become stagnant. And then the disease of corruption sets in. William Wallace would never have been remembered for the famous things that he said if there was never a fight. So when you call in today and you order this book, don't just read this and let the words, go in one ear and out the other, but put it to action. Do something about it. Write your senators and your congressmen. Get passionate about something. Otherwise, you may not have a voice. You may not have that opportunity later in life to do something about it, and you'll look back and wish you did.
That's right, John.
It's all being exposed right now.
Yeah, it is.
And you have to decide with the facts. What side are you on? What do you want? What kind of country do you want?
That's right.
Do you want a country that is making fun of the President of the United States?
No.
That's cutting his head off and holding it up with blood dripping off?
It's horrible.
That the comedians are saying, accuse the President of sex acts with the President of Russia?
No, it's horrible.
And they're getting ratings. So they're selling the president for ratings.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you did that to a Democrat, they'd never let you get by with selling them for ratings. They would never let it happen. And when you see this exposure of what's going on,
Right.
we are wasting America's time and energy right now by trying to assassinate the President of the United States. The Bible says that hatred is the same as murder.
That's right.
And what we're seeing going on, we are seeing our country. We should be figuring out how we are going to feed hungry children, not how we're going to
slander the president. Yes.
Impeach, slander, everything that they're doing against him. When he's trying to create, he's creating new jobs.
Yes.
How many new jobs has this man already created for Americans? I don't have the exact totals right in front of me, the stats, but I know that it's in the millions.
Yeah, could they work together?
I mean, it's
could
pretty
the Democrats and Republicans start coming together? Could that ever happen?
It can't happen.
That
it
won't
can't
happen
because the Democrats' ideology is identity politics. It's anti-American. They have to defeat this president and destroy the Republican administration. Because if they just get rid of Trump, then there's Mike Pence.
Exactly. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
They have to destroy the whole thing.
That's right.
And then look, if you don't stand up for yourself, you're going to be rolled over. This is what war is about.
Yeah.
You don't really have a choice.
So this is our time. It's our time to
Fight.
stand together in unity and one accord.
So heed the call.
Yes.
Read the book.
Yes.
Read the book.
It'll help you understand.
But it's going to give you such information.
Oh, it's incredible.
That helps you to know what is really going on. Most people don't know.
No.
That's the reason why when I began to study David Horowitz and what he's been through and what he's written and all of what he's doing, I said, I want to send this book out.
Yes.
So we actually talked to your publishers and
I know that's how I found out.
Work with your publisher because we have been reading your book. All of us, everybody on the set here, has read your book, including my wife Lori.
I love it. I literally couldn't put it down. I was just like over the weekend just reading it.
Didn't you think? Well, here's the unveiling.
Yes.
Here's the facts of what's going on. Here's
so
what
much.
they're doing.
Yes.
People say, why are these people so anti-American?
Right.
Why are they wanting the illegals to come into our country and then to bomb us and to destroy us?
Right.
It's hard to understand.
Yeah.
But when you read this, you understand.
You do.
This is the big agenda, President Trump's plan to save America. I want you to have the book. Order it today, 1-888-988-1588, toll-free number. Just call and ask them, or you can order 6 of them for a gift of $88.
Yes.
Perfect. Go to the website, Lori.
Right. Go to jimbakkershow.com. You know, I was just looking, as you were talking, honey, I was just looking down at this picture of our president that they decided to put on the cover, and I actually really love this picture. I'm going to tell you why. He has a picture of resolve. He has a picture of actually, I'm a fighter, and I'm going to go in. And I have a resolve that...
Make my day.
Make my day. Exactly. It's like, go ahead.
one of my last questions. Why is the left so aligned with anti-American causes and people?
I was born to it. I mean, first of all, it's a continuous movement for the communist movement. This is just the next generation of the same movement. Their icons, their texts, their history, their version of American history, all comes out of the Communist Party. That should be understood. A lot of the Communist Party were immigrants. And like my father was basically afraid of America. And the Communist Party made him feel very powerful. And, you know, he couldn't compete on the American playing field, as it were. So, you know, he took up the cause of erasing the American playing field. I think that has a lot to do with it. Now we have this racist politics. You have to take that very seriously. The Democratic Party, the left, they're racists. So the Islamists who hate us and are beheading us, all Christians and infidels all over the place, those are people of color. So they're oppressed. So they're identifying with them.
We want to thank David Horowitz for being with us, sharing these 3 days with us and teaching us what the big agenda is with President Trump's plan to save America.
Amazing.
Order your book right now.
Yes.
The toll-free number, 1-888-988-1588. The lines are busy. Just dial back. And you can dial 24 hours a day.
You can. Or you can go to the website, jimbakkershow.com.
Yes. And there's a lot to order there.
So many different items are available, and that's another word, as Tammy would say, a plethora of items are there at the Jim Bakker Show.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it so very, very much.
Thank you, David. It's such an honor to have you and meet you.
Right now, this is the final day. Remember, God loves you. He really does. Bye-bye for today.
Bye-bye. We love you.
Soon to Morningside and the Jim Bakker Show. Pastor Frank Amedia returns on Tuesday, June 27th. Bobby Connor returns to Morningside on Thursday, June 29th. Mike and Cindy Jacobs return to Morningside on Tuesday, July 4th. Our friends Pat and Karen Schatzline will be back at Morningside on Wednesday, July 5th. Tom Horn, Jennifer LeClaire, Donna Howell, and Derek Gilbert return to the Jim Bakker Show on Friday, July 7th. Don't forget our annual 4th of July celebration, July 1st through the 8th, a Morningside tradition. Come on out and join us for music, worship, ministry, teaching, prophetic words, and so much more, with guests like John Shorey, James Huey, Bobby Connor, Bill the Junkman Whaley, Hubie Sin, Dr. Cheryl Selman, and many more. Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis will return to Morningside Friday, July 28th. We're honored to have evangelist Alveda King with us Thursday, August 24th. Author and prophet Rick Joyner will be sharing a powerful word. Join us every night at 7 p.m. for The Prophet Speak, an evening filled of worship and ministry. For our full schedule, go online to jimbakkershow.com. We can't wait for you to see what God's doing here at Morningside.